Okay, so continuing on with multi-step equations, now we're going to talk about equations that have variables on both sides of the equal sign. Um, just remember that the basic rules of equations don't change here. You can do anything you want to an equation as long as you do it to both sides. Um, but there are some better ways to approach trying to handle a problem like this. So, say, before you do anything, and remember in previous videos I had this handy dandy little recipe. I'm suggesting that when you have variables on both sides, before you do this, you have to do these two things first. All right. So before you get back to our regularly scheduled recipe of equations, what we want to do is first of all to distribute any parentheses or to combine any like terms on either side first. And then what we want to do, our goal is to get variables of the same type all on one side and combine it as one, having one little x there in one place in that equation. You'll see what I mean by that when I do this example. So I've got an example here, and we're looking at the equation 6x plus 3 is equal to 8x minus 21. So here's what I mean. First of all, are there any like terms? Is there any like terms on the left side? No. Any like terms on the right side? No. So we can skip that step. But then you want to get all variables on one side and then solve. So notice I have an x here and an x here, and they are separated by this big old canyon that we call the equal sign. And in order to get him across the canyon, we have to do the opposite of what's being done to him. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter which direction, which variable you move where. If you want to move this 6x over here with this 8x, you are free to do that. Or if the first thing you want to do is to move this 8x over here with the 6x, you are also free to do that. The only thing you have to remember is as long as you do it to both sides, it doesn't matter which direction you decide to go. There are two different ways to think about this. Some people do not like working with negative numbers. So for those people, what I would suggest is take the smaller variable and move it to the bigger variable because it's going to leave you with a positive x over here. All right. Now, some people prefer to always have the x on the left-hand side. If you're one of those people, then I would suggest subtracting 8x from both sides and moving it over here. Doesn't matter. And I will do this particular problem two different ways to show you that. First of all, if I want to move the 6x over with the 8, let's start by that. If we do a negative 6x there, we got to subtract 6x over here as well. So what we're left with then is 3 is equal to 8 minus 6 is going to be 2x minus 21. And now we can jump right back in to our little recipe. We've got a two-step equation, so we'll start here at step 4. Add and subtract to get the variable alone. So I've got a minus 21. What we want to do is add 21. And again, we've got to do that to both sides. 3 plus 21 is 24 is equal to 2x. All right. Final step then would be to divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself. So x is equal to 12. Now notice, x equal to 12, that's fine. 12 equal to x, that's fine. If we wanted to do this same problem, and I'll do it on a separate sheet of paper here, we've got 6x plus 3 is equal to 8x minus 21. So here in our first example, we subtracted 6x, and I said that if you don't like having your x, if you like having your x on the left side, then you would want to subtract 8x first. So let's go ahead and do that. Now run through this real quick, and we'll see if we get the same exact answer. Notice, if I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides, what I've got is 6 minus 8 is going to be negative 2x plus 3 is equal to negative 21 because that will cancel out. Notice, for a lot of people, having it set up like this just makes more sense to them because it's real easy to see what needs to go where. Your next step would be to subtract 3 from both sides, and then you're left with negative 2x is equal to negative 24. And then finally, divide both sides by negative 2. So x would be equal to a negative divided by a negative is positive. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And voila, we got the same exact answer we did in the previous example. So there's what I mean by, if you want to move the variable, it doesn't matter which one you decide to move. So take the pressure off yourself and just start somewhere. You can think about it, whatever makes you the most comfortable. All right. Moving on to the next example, I've got 2 times parentheses y minus 6 is equal to 9x plus 2. Now, before I go wonky and start moving all these variables together, also notice I made a little mistake here. This should be an x. 2 times x minus 6 is equal to 9x plus 2. Before you go crazy trying to move the variable across, you have to get rid of the parentheses first. So combine like terms or distribute. Here we're going to distribute that 2 across to get rid of that parentheses. So get rid of the parentheses first and it'll make your life a lot easier. If we do 2 times x, that's going to be 2x. And then we do 2 times a negative 6. That's going to be negative 12. And then we're left on the right side with negative, or a 9x plus 2 on that side, just like before. All right. And then we go back to our little rule here. Get our variables on one side and then solve. So again, doesn't matter which way you move it. I like to keep my x's positive because I like working with positive numbers. But again, you can recognize that you can subtract 9x and keep the x's on the left there if you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with this 2x. I'm going to subtract 2x, move it across my equal sign here, and get it underneath of that 9x. Again, line it up under the like term on that side so that you can combine them. 2x minus 2x goes away, and then this whole negative 12 comes down. And then 9x minus 2x is 7x plus 2. All right. Next step would be to add or subtract to get the variable by itself. So I've got a plus 2 here. What I want to do is minus 2. So minus 2 from both sides. I'm left with negative 12 minus 2 be negative 14. That's equal to 7x, and that cancels out. And then your final step here then will be to get x by itself. This is 7 times x. To undo times, we divide both sides by 7. So negative 14 divided by 7, negative divided by a positive is negative, and then 14 divided by 7 is 2. So negative 2 is equal to x is my answer. Okay, and again, I won't do the other way to show you. Take a minute and try that the other way if you'd like. When this video is over, start by subtracting 9x from both sides and work from there and see if you get x equal to negative 2 to see if you understand what's going on. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you.